Hi again, everybody. Welcome to another night of Georgia Bulldogs basketball. Georgia takes on the Charleston Southern Buccaneers. Georgia is coming off a great win versus Buffalo, where Georgia hit triple digits. Georgia hit 100, and Georgia won 100-49. Yeah, it was one of the first times I'd seen Georgia put up 100 points in a real game. It was just a wonderful. Georgia got off to a 23-0 start, and after that, it was over. Here's the ESPN article. I was looking for game stats, and we'll get those right here. R.J. Godfrey had 9 points, Asa Newell had 16, Blue Kane with 10, Silas Demery Jr. with 13, Ty Lawrence with 5, Santo with 10, Dylan James with 1, Savo with 11, Deshane Montgomery with 16, and Dakota LeFew with 9. Deshane Montgomery was playing his first ever game as a Georgia Bulldog. It went very well, very, very well. He went 6 for 8, so he almost didn't even miss, if you want to get logical with it. But Georgia played wonderful, and that was very, very impressive to do. Score 100 points. I mean, and to even start the game where it was 23-0, I don't think I have ever seen that before, where a team scores the first 23 points of a game. I've seen teams score, like the first 10 points or the first 13 points, but I've never seen a game where a team scored the first 23 points and it wasn't even close. I mean, it was just complete, utter chaos on Buffalo's side, but Georgia got it done, and I have to say this. Blue Kane is in the starting lineup now. So if you remember, Blue Kane was one of the players who was coming off the bench last year and electrified the Georgia team. Like, he would come in when they needed him the most. I like this being if that is Dakota LeFew coming off the bench. I like that. Now, of course, the starting line, it might not change, but I mean, I just find it very interesting that, Dakota is that spark Georgia needs sometimes. Whether it's, you're up 5 and you were up 12 and now you're up 5 and you need a bucket, or you need a clutch bucket down the stretch of the game. Dakota has that. Dakota is, in my opinion, a great spark off the bench. It's always great to have good bench play, but I mean, Dakota LeFew might be the best. In my opinion, Dakota is one of the best players in the country, and that's just not coming off the bench. That is overall. And the best thing about that is when your starters go out, when RJ and Asa and Silas and Ty and Blue go out, you could trust those guys to keep rolling. You could trust Abson, Santo, Dylan James, Dakota LeFew. I mean, it's just crazy how it works like that. Like, Georgia's bench team can beat with LeFew and Santo, and everybody can compete and win. They can win an entire game by themselves if they reverse their lineups and had their bench lineup as their starting lineup and their secondary lineup as their first lineup as their secondary lineup. Georgia could win that game, but the team Georgia is playing, Charleston Southern. Here's from ESPN. And the game is at tip-off at 3:30, so 3:05 airtime on the Georgia Bulldogs Sports Network. Their last game, they lost to the North Alabama Lions. They are 2-3 in their last games. They beat Miami and UT Martin, but have lost to Davidson, South Carolina State, and North Alabama. And of course, Georgia is 5-0 of their last game. The win over St. John's, Jacksonville, North Dakota, Grand Canyon, and Buffalo. Charleston Southern is 3-10, and it seems to be Todd Kelly is their best player because he scored 34 points in their last game. Georgia has a 98% chance to win. The other SEC games that day is Kent State, Alabama, Arkansas, Central Arkansas, Oklahoma, Illinois, Missouri, Radford, South Carolina, New Orleans, and LSU. Not to break away from Georgia here for a minute, but LSU, in my opinion, has been a very, very sleeper team. I ain't just saying that because it's LSU. I'm saying that because LSU has really played good basketball. The only game they lost, I think, they haven't lost really a bad game this year. Yeah, they lost to SMU, and they lost to SMU, and they lost to Pitt. So that's their only losses. They do not have that bad of a loss, in my opinion. But yeah, that's anyway. Well, what I'm about to say about Georgia is, and it's crazy. You know, you look at the UCF game, then the Tennessee Tech game, and it's like, man, non-conference play has got here and went away. It's always going to be something that sticks with me, man. I remember making content and releasing videos when they were just releasing the times of these games, when they hadn't even been announced really to the public yet. I mean, it's just crazy. It is crazy how fast non-conference went by. I mean, I remember doing videos before I went to bed in July about them releasing the game against Tennessee Tech. I remember doing videos after I just got out of surgery about them doing the Texas Southern, North Florida, and Georgia Tech game. I remember the Marquette and Alabama A&M game were very, very early in the year off season, like it was in like May. I remember doing the Jacksonville video. I remember doing the St. John's game because that was the Marquette game was announced last year, but the St. John's game was actually announced earlier in the year. I remember doing the Notre Dame when they were playing in SEC ACC Challenge. I remember the Grand Canyon game, trying to figure out for months who that unknown opponent in Atlanta was. And I remember doing the Buffalo. The first one I did was South Carolina State. The first game Georgia released, if I'm correct, if I'm remembering correct, the first game that it was announced Georgia would be playing was South Carolina State. So, yeah, that's crazy, man. It's just, I cannot believe how fast non-conference play has got here and left. So, yeah, that's going to pretty much end this video. Georgia and Charleston Southern, once again, a 3:30 tip-off, 3:05 airtime with Scott, Chuck, Adam, and Luke on the Georgia Bulldog Sports Network. Georgia is 10-1. Charleston Southern is 3-10. Georgia is looking for their 11th win. So, let's go Hoop Dogs and let's beat Charleston Southern.
Unbelievable. They beat Arkansas and go wire to win the SEC tournament.